Hi everybody, in this video tutorial I'm going to show you how to make this pretty Santa hat garland. It's made of individual little Santa hats which you can adapt to any color that you like. For this tutorial I'm going to show you how to make it in the traditional red and white, but you can also give it a more modern spin, for example by combining a white yarn with a gold thread. So let's get started. For this tutorial, you will need your two colors, yarn colors of preference. As I said, I'm using red and white, and I'm using Lion Brand 24/7 cotton. You will also need a corresponding hook. I'm using a 3mm hook. You will also need a pair of scissors or something to cut your yarn with. And to assemble your garland, you will need some sort of thread or twine, whatever you like. Again, I've used a red and white thread here because I think that suited the garland, and I will link everything in the description box below so you have all the information. And you will also need either some invisible thread and a corresponding needle, or some fabric glue, or just generally clear glue, to glue your pom-pom to the hat. And you will also need some darning needles as well to finish off your ends. To start, you will take your red yarn and you will make a chain, your first loop. You'll take your hook and just leave a bit of a tail because we'll use that in the beginning, but you will chain 25 chains. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, and 25. So here is your chain. You will then go in the second chain from hook. So the one on your, the loop on your hook doesn't count. So that's your first one, and that's your second one. You'll go right in there and you'll make a single crochet. But what I would like you to do is to flip your chain and actually go into that little bump. Make sure you just pick up the bump. That little bump here on the back of your chain, and you will simply single crochet into that little bump, and I'm using US terminology. And you'll continue by placing single crochets in that back bump. I'm going to bring it some bit closer so you can see it. This is the front of your chain, and if you twist it, this is the bump here. Yeah, that little bump in the back, and you'll just keep single crocheting into this one. So I'll go ahead and do my first row of single crochets and meet you at the end to show you how we join our piece. So now you should have a row of single crochets of 24 single crochets, and you will take your little piece and turn it around, and you will slip stitch into that first single crochet, and this will just make sure you've got a full circle, and then you will chain one. So to start off our second row, we'll make a front post double crochet. So the way to do that is we need to identify the posts of our stitches. So if I come really closely, you will see that each single crochet has a post. It's usually more easily visible on the double crochet because it's a longer stitch, but this is essentially your post for the single crochet. You see on top the V's, and on the bottom you see there is a post if you pull apart the stitches. So for the remainder of this project, what we will do is we will do a front post or a back post double crochet, and I will show you how we do that. Yarn over and go to your first stitch, and the first stitch you will make is a front post double crochet. So you will go from the front of your piece to the back, and then around your post back to the front. You'll yarn over, pull through that post, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over and pull through the remaining 2 loops. You will then go ahead and do a back post double crochet. So you will yarn over and you will go from the back to the front, just here, and around your post again to the back. Yarn over, pull through, and you see you'll be essentially working in the back of your piece almost. You'll yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2. Then for this next stitch, you'll do a front post double crochet. So take your hook from the front of the piece to the back, around the post and to the front again, yarn over, pull through that post, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through 2. Then the next stitch, you'll probably guessed it, is a back post double crochet. So take your hook from the back to the front, around your post and to the back again, yarn over, pull through that post, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over and pull through 2 again. So you will continue in the same way by alternating between front post and back post double crochets. And this is what will give your little Santa hat this nice texture here. Before I make any more stitches, I will use my stitch marker to mark which is my first stitch. And if you have any problems identifying that, then it's actually quite easy. You can quite easily see which one is your second stitch here, and this is its V, top V, and therefore this one right here will be your first one. So go ahead and put your stitch marker through that and just make sure to replace it for every row that comes. So I will go ahead and work around this piece here, and I will meet you right before we finish this second round now of our piece. So here you will see I've almost completed my first round, and I now need to finish this last stitch, which should be a back post double crochet. So again, we will take our hook, go to the back of our piece, go through the front, around that post and to the back again, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over and pull through the remaining 2 loops. And slip stitch into that first crochet stitch, and then chain 1. And then again, what you will do for this second round, or second round of alternating front and back post double crochets, is you will repeat the same stitch on top of the other. So this means we will do a front post double crochet in the first one, and then we will do a back post double crochet in the second one. And you can see now that because we have a base of double crochets, it's much easier to identify the front, the post rather, and to crochet front and back post double crochets. So continue along until you have reached your penultimate front post double crochet, because what we will do then is we will work a decrease to start giving our little hat its more triangular shape. So go ahead, continue by placing front post double crochets on the front post double crochets of the row before, and back post where you did back post double crochets on the row before, and meet me once you've reached that penultimate front post double crochet. Once you've worked this third row and second row of your interchange between front and back post double crochets, you should have a little piece that looks like this. And as I said, you should stop before you start your penultimate front post double crochet, and you can always identify those because they kind of protrude to the front. So now we'll have to work a decrease. So the way we will do that is we will join essentially 2 front post double crochets, and we will totally skip the back post single crochet, back post double crochet that it is in between them. So to do that, yarn over and just go as normal from front to back and then front again around your post, yarn over, pull through that post, yarn over and pull through 2 loops, and then stop and go to your next front post double crochet and do the same, yarn over from front to back and then to front again around your post here, pull up this loop, yarn over, pull through 2, and then yarn over again and pull through all the loops on your hook. And you can see we've basically joined up these 2 front post double crochets, and then we will go ahead and we will make this last back post double crochet. And just like before, we will slip stitch into that first stitch and chain 1. Now for your next row, you will just continue by making front and back post double crochets all around your piece. So go ahead, do that, and I will meet you so we can work the next round together, where again we will do another decrease. So I'm almost finished with this row, but I just wanted to show you, in case you had any difficulty, how to make this front post double crochet for this bit here where we worked our decrease on the previous round. So just yarn over, put your hook from the back, from the front to the back and then to the front again, yarn over and pull through this post, yarn over and pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2. And this is just as easy, it just looks a bit bulky, but it's just as easy as any other of the stitches you've made. And again, we'll finish up by making a back post double crochet. So now, since you have worked that decrease in the previous round, you should have 22 stitches. And now for this round, we will start again and we will make another decrease exactly in that penultimate front post double crochet. So we will be effectively decreasing by blending or merging these 2 front double crochets. So go ahead, work around your piece, and I'll come back to show you how we work that decrease. I have now reached again the point where I need to work a decrease, and just like before, we will yarn over, go around our post, yarn over and pull through the first 2 loops, and then we will skip our back post and we will go to the next front post and again work the first half of the stitch, and then once we have 3 loops on our hook, yarn over and pull through all these loops, and then work a normal back post double crochet. And now for the next row, you will simply to get started off, you will as always slip stitch and chain 1, and you will work a back post and a front post and a back post double crochet all around your piece. You will again slip stitch into your first stitch and then chain 1, and then for the round after you will work another decrease. So I will go ahead, work up those 2 rows or rounds, and I will meet you again at the point of making the decrease again, so I can show you how this part of our little hat gets built up. So now again I've worked my round of simply front post and back post double crochet, and now I'm on my second round where I'm going to work a further decrease. So that would be the 3rd decrease that we've done for our piece. So just like before, yarn over, go to that penultimate front post double crochet, yarn over and pull through 2, and then you'll have 2 loops on your hook, skip that back post, and then yarn over, go to that last front post double crochet, go around it, yarn over, pull through 2, and then you'll have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through all 3 of them. And then don't forget to work that last back post double crochet. Let's get that one done right. There we go. And now you will slip stitch into that first stitch. Just to make sure that you've got the right number of stitches. At this point you should have 18 stitches. Now what we will do is we will finish up our little hat. So chain 1, and for the rest of the piece we will essentially make further decreases. So we will do single crochets, but we'll also work decreases across all our stitches. So we'll essentially single crochet 2 stitches together. So go to that first stitch, go through that stitch, that's the stitch that you've slip stitched into and that you did the chain 1 to, and pull up a loop like so, and then go to the next one, pull up a loop. You should have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through, and that's your new single crochet. And we will go ahead and do that all around your piece. That means you will have 9 single crochets at the end of this. Let's show you again. Take your hook, go through that next stitch, pull up a loop, go to the next one, pull up a loop, and yarn over and pull through all the loops. You could work an invisible decrease, but at this point, because it's quite a small piece and you will have your little pom-pom on top, I don't think it makes that much of a difference. But if you prefer the look of an invisible decrease, go ahead and do that. This is just a bit easier. So let's continue this for just a few more times. And like I said, because you have 18 stitches, if everything has worked the way it should, we will repeat this for a total of 9 times. And indeed, here we've reached the end with our last 2 stitches to single crochet together. And then again, we're going to slip stitch into that first stitch, chain 1, and then just leave a bit of a tail, not too big, just a few inches, and snip this off. Since you've chained 1, you can pull your yarn through and you've essentially secured it. And what we need to do now is take a darning needle, if we can pull out the right one, and then we will just close that small opening. So what you will do is you can just go in and out of the stitches. So you can go from inside to outside, like so. And then you'll just be able to sort of pull it and it will close quite nicely. And then of course secure it on the inside of your piece. So here we can pull it, and you can see it closes in quite nicely. If you feel you need to do it one more time, go ahead and do it. And then put that darning needle through the inside, and again pull it to close it. And you can see we have a nice closed little hat here. You can always turn it inside out. And just weave in a few more times to secure the closing here. Once you've done it a few more times, you can also make a knot and then cut off your ends, which is what I will do now. So on to the next part, which is making the white bottom of our piece. So pick up your white yarn and let's start this bit here. So the first thing you may want to do is close this opening and just go underneath the 2 loops of your first stitch or your last stitch, depending how you were starting it, and then turn that piece inside out again. And just sew it closed. The stitches from the white little fringe that we're going to create will also give this extra security. But of course, just try and make sure your ends are nicely waved in. I'll just finish this up with a quick little knot just to secure everything nicely together. Now turn your piece in the correct way. And I like to start from that point there that we just sewed together, because that will be the place where we did our increases, where we did our decreases, and therefore it will probably be the back of our hat. So we want it looking as seamless as possible, but at the same time, this is where any small irregularities can appear. So take your white yarn and your hook and go to that first single crochet, and you will see there will be 2 loops here at the bottom, and you can put your crochet hook through them, pull put your yarn through your hook and pull through that stitch, and then chain 1. And then in that same stitch you will make a half double crochet. So yarn over, go through that same chain, yarn over, pull through, and yarn over again. And if you can, try and capture that tail in your piece as well, so you don't have to weave it in afterwards. So you will essentially continue by making half double crochets throughout this piece. And again, to show you how these look, yarn over, go through that stitch, like so, yarn over, pull through the stitch, yarn over and pull through the loops. So continue in this way all along your piece, and you should make 24 half double crochets. And I will meet you once you've done your last half double crochet to show you how we again connect the 2 sides of our round. So I've placed my stitch marker again to help me identify my first stitch, And if you're here towards the end and you're not quite sure if you're meant to be doing a half double crochet in this space here, you can just count and make sure that this would be your 24th half double crochet. So again, to finish up, we do our little half double crochet here, and to connect the two, we will do an invisible slip stitch, which means pull up a loop here, your loop a bit, and then go with your crochet hook from the back to the front of that first half double crochet. Turn your piece around and make sure this working yarn is in the back. Catch your loop and bring it to the back, and then pull it closed. Make sure your loop is not too loose, and then chain one. And then you'll continue by making another row of half double crochets, or another round. Continue doing that, and once you've reached the end of this second round of half double crochets, do another invisible slip stitch, and then crochet a third round of half double crochets. So I will go ahead, do the same, and I will meet you to start our fourth round for this white fringe here. So now I've worked my 3 rounds of half double crochet, and I will do one more invisible slip stitch here, and then I will work my last round, which is a half double slip stitch. So like always, chain one, and then yarn over, go through the stitch, yarn over and pull through. And now, rather than do another yarn over, just use this loop to go through your remaining 2 loops, and then continue in the same way. If you need to, you can use your nails a bit and your fingers to create some tension, like so. So continue in this way, and this just gives you a nice little border here, but it also gives you a bit of height because it's still a half double crochet compared to your normal slip stitches. So go ahead and continue making these slip stitches, this half double slip stitches, and I will meet you once you've made the last one to show you how we finish off the Santa hat, and then how we continue assembling it and make the garland. So here I've reached the end of my piece, and I've done this half double slip stitch into the last stitch. And what I will do now is I will leave a tail, not too long, but just enough. I will snip off my yarn, and I will pull this loop like so. Now the next thing I want to do is take my darning needle, and it's better to do this with a darning needle that is slightly dull, not such a pointy end as the one I have here, but this one will work as well. And we just want to make a seamless finish to our piece. So going from back to front, pull both of these top loops of your top stitch like so. Yeah. And pull the yarn tail to the front. And then go through the middle, right, the middle of your stitch here, towards the back of your piece, like so, and shut it closed, like this. Pull it a bit, and you can see you have a fairly seamless top. And of course you can then weave in your ends, and it might be better to just pull that yarn towards this side now, which sounds counterintuitive, but you'll understand in a moment why we do this. So just go ahead and weave in this part carefully. I'm doing it a bit quickly here for the purposes of the video. So this will end here from the beginning of our piece. You can just pull to the other side as well. And you can either cut it or secure it further, and then just flip the little white fringe, if you like, those few rows of half double crochet up, and you have your new little Santa hat. So to finish off the hat, you can use a pom-pom, or you can make one from yarn. And to secure this, you can use some glue, as I said, or a combination of glue and thread, or of course just the thread here. And this is a nylon thread. I think it's barely visible on camera. It's really great because you can really sew things securely, and it blends in with practically every yarn color. But for the purposes of the video, I will just dab some glue here. Just make sure you pick the side of your pom-pom that looks flatter and nicer, and just press this a bit for a few seconds. And like I said, if need be, you can always go then with thread and needle with your invisible nylon yarn. To make the garland, I have chosen this yarn here, which combines the colors, the primary colors of our Santa hat, but you can use whichever one you want. And cut as much as you like, depending on how large you want your garland to be. I have found that a really nice distance between the little Santa hats is about 6.5 to 7 inches, up to maybe 8 inches. So think about how large you want your garland to be. Take into account that you will need some extra string to make the initial loop at the front and at the beginning, at the end of your garland. So take into account that this might be another 3-4 inches, and then the distance between that loop and your first hat, like so. And then just decide how big of a garland you want. Now, to put everything together, what I have done is I have made sure that my hats were looking in the right direction, so I was not sewing them in any way that would make the backside look to the front. And what I then did was I threaded this darning needle and took each of these little hats, making sure that the fronts are looking at me. And for the hat that I'm about to put on the garland, also the nice front part is facing me. And then I tipped it to the back and I picked up one of those very top single crochets, like so. And I put my darning needle through it, like so. And then I measure to see whether the distance is more or less what I want. Right, so this is about 7 inches. Yeah. I can maybe pull this a bit closer actually. Just make sure it's, yeah, 7 inches. And then I basically just make sure that the yarn that is separating the two hats doesn't move. But then I make a little knot. And there we are. We've got our little hats assembled on our garland. And then what you will do is you will then make, once you've put enough Santa hats for your garland, you will just finish it by making a loop so that you can hang it, and then you'll have 2 loops, one at the beginning and one at the end of your garland. So I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial for making these very cute Santa hats. You can always make only a couple of them and use them as decorations for your Christmas tree, or you can do as I have done and make a beautiful Christmas garland. Again, this is a versatile pattern because you can either do a traditional look or you can adapt it with different colors and different pompons, of course, to match, to suit your own decor and theme for Christmas. So I hope you've enjoyed this video tutorial. As always, information about this pattern and what I've used will be in the description box below, as will be a link to the written pattern. And as always, happy crochet!